Hello, I'm going to be running you quickly just through some of the thought processes I went through when developing my concept at a kind of more finalized state. So firstly, I looked at the surrounding communities, mainly the kind of direct impacting West End, Kangaroo Point, the CBD, Milton, which is across the river, and then also just how that impacted directly to South Bank. So from there I looked at a kind of more micro point of view and looked at how from the site the surrounding buildings play a role in impacting the site. So firstly, Griffith University, which is coupled with the site, quite a large building and having a significant impact across the road on Little Stanley Street. We've got a large 4 to 5 story office space which has a more relatively moderate impact on the site, and then diagonally a larger office residential building, again kind of more moderate impact, and then the Riders residential tower, which has a more larger impact due to its immense size and impact on the sun path and shade cast across the site with the western sun. And then finally, of course, Suncorp Piazza, which is again coupled with the site, and a massive impact onto the site directly in terms of accessibility, cars moving in and out of the area and whatnot. So I looked at how to turn a limitation into possibly a design element, and looked at creating circulation through, all around, or somehow incorporating the Suncorp Piazza into the design. So firstly, when I was looking at creating the design concept, I initially thought for the building uses which would dictate the form, the shape, the zones, and obviously the layout and how it all work together. So I had my initial concept of creating circulation through a ramp system which wraps around the initial first level platform and continues up at a gradient of about 4%, which wraps around the existing amphitheatre, which would be redeveloped into a more suitable design. So the purpose for this is so as the user is walking around, they're still connected with the actual performance or keynote speaker or whatever it may be, which is actually performing in the new redeveloped amphitheatre. And that's why I wanted to couple the two, the ramp and both the performance centre together, and have them as one design element. So overall, with these few design elements I've discussed, the main goal was to link the various users of the space. So the zones, which include the arts and cultural levels, the educational levels, the community hubs, the amphitheatre, the ramp. I wanted all these spaces to be connected on one level or another. So firstly, I looked at how to achieve this using materials and design elements, including the application. So firstly, with the ramp, how I want to connect that with the amphitheatre is implementing spaced timber battens. I figured this would allow the user to be connected to the performance on one level or another, and still be able to not kind of interrupt or disrupt the performance that was currently in play. Secondly, with the entrances and the exits and the circulation, I wanted to connect it on the ground level and the top level of the ramp, which then flowed onto the rooftop gardens through these community interactive modules, which pretty much consist of a steel frame that is connected on a kind of more complex level with these various modules that kind of float in these different pockets of this frame. So I looked into using an I-beam structure to hold these modules up and then connect the various levels through a staircase system, and then implementing different uses such as the urban farms, social spaces, relaxation zone, and then community classes for the user of the various areas. I wanted to implement some vegetation and some green spaces just to give it a vibrant appeal. And then also I applied quite a bright colour code onto the different modules just to ensure that it kind of was highly visible for various people moving throughout the area on that Grey Street zone. With the skin, I wanted to use a material called ETFE, which is pretty much a pillow system connected on 3 levels, which is quite easy to put together on a construction level. Extremely cost effective opposed to steel and glass, and is also highly sustainable at reflecting the sun coming into the area. It's able to trap that heat and allow it to not get into the area. With the screening system for the ramp and the amphitheatre, as I discussed before, I wanted to implement timber battens, a darker gradient with an irregular kind of flow to them, so they kind of move up and down at different levels as you're moving around the ramp, just to break up that uniform gradient of the ramp. I thought this would be quite a unique design trait. And then lastly, precast concrete would be making up the modules and the ramping system, which is pretty much the core of the structure.